What's up, beautiful people, and welcome back to the channel. Before we get into this, please make sure you subscribe. If you're new here, my name is Izzy and I'm a journalist, and I make videos here on YouTube where I visit different animal shelters. I speak to them about the work they do, but also raising awareness on different topics and issues, and speaking about the challenges that they face day to day. I also speak to different charities and organisations about how they help animals change people's lives. This can be from hearing dogs to guide dogs to animal assisted therapy. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this, and let's find out where we are off to today. I'm here at Windyway Kennels in Macclesfield, and they've been rescuing cats, dogs and rabbits since the 60s, and this is Barry, and he came into the shelter recently, so I'm going to find out a little bit more about his story and some other different topics and issues. So yeah, let's go and find out a bit more. Tell me all about where the shelter all started.
It was about 1960, I think. My mother and father, well, my mother's family, her parents moved here and basically started doing boarding and rescue at the same time in a small way, and it's sort of grown over the years since then. Obviously they're not around anymore. My mother's still here, but she doesn't do an awful lot physically anymore. She's still here mentally and still with us. But myself, my older sister, we're still here running, in inverted commas, you know, as much as you can control what we do here, ticking over. And so yeah, so 55 years ago then really, but it was very long, slow growth, and more recently we sort of got more staff, more volunteers, and sort of been growing a bit more recently, along with the trust.
And what is the main ethos here and what you stand for?
Well, we look after dogs, cats, rabbits, just small animals. We have had a few ponies in the past. We've got one left now, but it's mainly dogs and cats and rabbits. We try and take them on, well, we do take them on, and we look after them to the best of our abilities. You know, health check, vaccinations, neuterings, you know, medications are all given, whatever, dietary needs looked after. We take them out a couple of times a day in the fields here and up over the other side. Try and find them homes, basically. Not all of them are homeable. Our way of doing things has been that we don't put anything to sleep unless we have to, you know, health-wise, or there has been some drastic event of some kind and we're advised to put them to sleep, but other than that they stay with us. So we count ourselves as a sanctuary, so if an animal comes here, it's here until it passes away. We are trying to find it a home all the time. Not every animal finds a home. Some of them have difficulties, slight temperamental issues, health issues that mean people just aren't willing to take them on. We have some animals who are younger and friendlier who will get homes fairly easily, and they come from all sorts of backgrounds. We don't deal with strays anymore. We're not allowed to deal with strays, those have to go by the dog warden. So a lot of the animals we have are either family illnesses or deaths or split ups or people emigrating. You know, people's home circumstances change, and then they end up, some people have tried very hard, some people haven't tried very hard, but they end up needing our help. So when we can, we take the animal in. Since COVID, we do rehomings. Obviously we used to be open to the public certain hours, and people could come and look around, and we'd take the name and address and do a home visit. You know, and people would be talked to seriously about each animal and the problems, and we'd be upfront about what the issues were that they have. It's our aim to home the right animal in the right home, not just keep them moving. But since COVID we started doing an online thing, because we had to close to the public coming here obviously, and we wanted to keep ticking over in some way. So we've carried on with a more online thing now, where people can't just turn up and look around. we do make appointments and people can come to see specific animals once they've sort of been assessed, I suppose is the right way of putting it. They make an application online and we decide whether we've got anybody that might be suitable, and then we arrange for them to come and visit, and then if everything goes ahead, we don't actually do a physical home visit anymore. We ask for either a vet reference or a suitable person, a reference from a suitable person, or if we know them from the past that have had animals from us before. Quite a lot of people have had animals from before and will come back again, so we know them in that way. And photographs of gardens and things like that, and making sure they understand what they're taking on, because that again is a reason why we have animals in, that people don't understand what they're taking on, how tying an animal is to somebody who wants to live a different kind of lifestyle, how expensive it can be, commitments to health needs and insuring if you're not getting insured, or training or behavioural issues. There's a long list of things that people have to consider really before they should consider taking on an animal, and not everybody does. So they can come by animals in all sorts of ways these days. So some homings aren't successful, and that's how they end up here sometimes. When we do home an animal, we say, if there's any problem, any issues, your circumstances change, you can't look after them anymore, let us know and we'll have them back here as soon as we can. We don't just leave people hanging with the animal. We aim to commit to the animal once we have it, so that can come back and get us years later, but that's how we try and operate.
And what sort of other topics and issues are there that you feel people need to be aware of when it comes to dogs, cats and rabbits in general?
It is mainly those really, just health issues, allergies of family members, costs of food, costs if they need a special diet or something, it can be quite expensive. If they go off the food in some way, or if they need veterinary care, it can be a lot more expensive than you might imagine owning an animal. And I think really that's probably the main one, plus the time commitment to exercising it and giving it the attention it deserves. It's just making sure mainly that, in the way we see it, is that people have thought it through thoroughly and they understand what they're taking on.
And what are the hopes for the future here at the shelter?
We are planning on, some of the buildings are getting a bit old and tatty here. There are plans afoot for replacing several parts of the sanctuary with newer buildings and just rearranging things, because like at the moment staff and family all come into the house for brew and cups of tea and lunch and that sort of thing, and we plan to create a bit more of a staff area and a bit more of an office area that isn't in the house sitting at a computer, plus separate places for cats. At the moment, again, if there's a cat or a rabbit or a small animal that needs more regular attention, like a kitten that needs syringing feed because it's not weaned properly yet, or sometimes we get that, or a litter of kittens, we have them in part of the house because it's nearer. And if they come in and we have like litters of wild kittens or a cat that's a bit wild, we have them in places where they'll see people more regularly than they would if they were in a separate pen somewhere else. So sometimes for socialising, so there'll be slightly better areas for that. We have a bit of a makeshift place over there at the moment where it's set up a little bit like it's got a couch in, basically, more like a home environment for when people have met a dog a couple of times. They can take it in there and they can sit with it, and we can keep an eye on them. And they can be in a bit more of a sort of home environment with the animal, just to get to know it a bit more, and them to get to know each other. So there should be somewhere a little bit more like that. Just modernising the facilities here and there where they've got a bit old and tired.
Who do we have here?
This is Barry. He's about 5 years old, French bulldog. Unfortunately his owners emigrated and couldn't take him with him. Sometimes it's work, sometimes it's something that people can't control, so I imagine they were very sorry to lose him, but he's been here now more than 6 months I think now. But yeah, he's recently had the operation on his ears and getting his skin sorted out, and yeah, he kept getting ear infections, so the vets decided the best thing to do is to remove his ear canal. So he's had this big operation on his ear fairly recently, and touch wood, he's recovering fairly well from it. He's a lovely character. All the vet nurses love him, all the vets love him, everybody wants to come and give him a cuddle when he goes to the vets. He loves being at the vets because they all love him there. Everybody here loves him. Yes, he can be a bit over enthusiastic sometimes and dive on people, but in a friendly way. But yeah, he's just a lovely character.